Okay, guys, here we are for another live optimization series. We are going to have here, as usual, Alex. Alex has a auto parts business based out of Switzerland, or Switzerland or Sweden. I forgot again. Which one is it?
It's Sweden, yeah.
Sweden. Okay, sorry, Sweden. Sweden, and we've been with Alex since the beginning. We started this series. We've about 11 weeks now that we've done this. Alex, why don't you tell us very quickly in 60 seconds or less about your business again, rehash what you're doing there, what your goals are.
Yeah, hello everyone. We are a e-commerce selling replacement car parts for the Swedish market. We started in February and it's been going on for at least 11 weeks. Yeah, currently we spent about 40,000 euros on Google Ads. We started with 290 ROAS. Today it is about 370. And we are slowly growing, improving the website because mostly it is a bottleneck. Added the live chat feature as per Corey suggestions. Added more stuff to help the customers with making a choice and being confident in choosing the parts that they need. Yeah, the live chat at the moment is a bit basic, but we are slowly improving it. We'll probably switch to a better live chat version. What was it called? I forgot. Livechat.inc.
Live Chat Inc.
Is that the one?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I've checked it out a bit. I saw that you can create like custom campaigns for that. And yeah, that's about it. Right now we are moving, so I didn't have that much time to investigate.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So with that said, guys, you got to understand the business that we're in. We're replacement auto parts, nothing aftermarket or upgrades, just basic standard parts that you have to need to replace on your vehicle. And we'll go into kind of where we're at with the results. So last 7 days, if we look at all campaign results here, I apologize if I'm being a little bit slow here. Google's updated their entire system layout again, and I'm still getting familiar with it. Just did that a couple days ago.
Try clicking on the ad group itself, like the small box up top where it says ad groups and the ad group one. No, not working. Oh my god.
Yeah, hang on. I think it's just their systems have been a bit slow. Let me refresh this.
All right. Well, quick update. What happened on the previous week? Didn't have that much time to go ham on the changes, probably for the better. I dabbled a bit into the SCAD campaigns. Actually sat and thought, like, what can we do? I used the dynamic search terms to get a bit more like long tail keywords. As an example, like a throttle body for make and model plus a year for a vehicle, and made literally a custom made ad that says, like, I asked ChatGPT, like, for this part, what are the symptoms that you need to replace the part? So an example for throttle bodies, it's basically when you press on the gas pedal, it controls how much actual power is being given to the engine in a basic sense. And if it's, and the symptoms is you will get like sloppy idle. When you accelerate, it will be kind of meh. It can go up and down. So I use that to make a custom ad and kind of get to the point to the user.
Okay, so I finally got this figured out, by the way, on my end. You were right on the clicking the ad group button. That's the new system now. Anyway, we're at 3.53 ROAS the last 7 days. So I presume, that when we wait for the sales to come through. We're over a 4 again. And so we're still close to what we want in terms of ROAS. Show me which campaign should I click on to show the audience an example of the campaign that you put together, or ad?
It's a SCAG campaign. It's literally
This
called,
one?
yeah, SCAG. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is your throttle body.
Yeah, there's only 2 keywords.
So this is essentially mainly a test to see how well it will work.
Yeah. What I've noticed is that, I guess because it's a Swedish market, not the US, we only have like 9 million people living there. And so in the end, the long tail keywords, they get at most 10, 20 impressions if you're lucky in a month. So for this campaign to actually work, you kind of need to just go in and add like 100 keywords with custom ads.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of mentioned that the main thing I would do with short amount, only limited time, is to go through your your PMAX campaign and go through the search terms report and find the stuff that's converting, and then build out your SCAG using those terms. Each time you have a conversion, you break it out into its own ad group and write a custom ad just for that term to get more out of it moving forward. Usually get 2-3 times more out of that term moving forward, and that gives you your best bang for your buck on your time. Now, that said, I 100% agree with you in that the long tail is going to not get you much, at least on an individual small level. If somebody came to me and was like, hey, dude, I will cut you in on, let's say, 5% of the revenue growth of this company if you ran all the ads, I would take it in a heartbeat, because all I would do is do long tail keywords all day long. I would create 50,000 keywords targeting all the parts like on that level that you mentioned, and each one would bring in a small trickle, but each one would be super high ROAS. And why would that work so well? Because the competition didn't do it. And the user doesn't want to go clicking through an entire website to find a part. They just want the part, damn it. And that's it. So if you run this test basically and you see it works, you hire a data entry person to build out that exact structure in a scaled way. You can use Google ad editor to copy paste things quickly, move around quickly, and that kind of thing. And then you could scale it that way pretty cheaply. Doing that way, you could get a lot done for a little bit of money and do a lot of damage. So it'll work. As to how much searches you'll get from 1 or 2 keywords, I mean, not much, but when you have 50,000 keywords, when it's all said and done with, it'll actually produce a lot of sales. I guarantee you that. In the end, that should be your eventual in-destination goal on search, at least, to get there, given that you want people that are almost ready to buy, not using your site as an information tool or source, which is what people do otherwise, right? When they type in throttle body for sale, they're starting to use your website and your ad budget as a resource to just educate themselves mostly, versus actually buy something. And then when they're ready to buy, then they make another search, and that's the search you want to really actually show up for, not the first one. Even though the first one can make you money, but certainly has much less ROI potential in terms of click per click, and you're going to have to bid less per click because those clicks are worth less. And whereas the long tail searches, I mean, anyway, so I pretty much said what I was going to say there. Give it a test. We'll see what happens, let's say 8 weeks from now on that, in terms of how it'll start scaling in terms of the impressions more and more as you break it in more. So I will say that. What else should we talk about here?
To go back to what you mentioned about getting the search terms from PMAX that convert. Well, what I observed is, and what is my main issue, let's say we have PMAX or the DSA campaign that is running, all the conversions there are long tail. Well, if we talk about the DSA, the dynamic ads campaign.
Sure,
and so
okay.
it does not show the actual search term that converted. It just shows in other search terms. That is the biggest issue.
Yeah, and that
So
audience for
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So my question is, does it matter what term converted? Like
80% of them are under other for yours.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So if you're saying that you should look at the search term, and if it converted, make a ad group in the SCAG campaign, does it matter is the search term long term or long tail?
Short tail, long tail, I'm still going to do it either way. It just allows me to leverage what's working more and more. Usually you can triple the click-through rate when you have an isolated handwritten ad copy for that term. At least I can when I write the ad, but I also have a little bit more skill. Maybe you might be able to double it with your knowledge. We'll just say it's still worth it, obviously, in that case. But yeah, you would do all of them. And yes, do it from the DSA campaign and the PMAX. As far as what you can do about these others, I mean, you can't do anything. And the reason why, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, the reason why this shows up under other, these are terms that are like super long tail, essentially. Google's hiding these terms because they don't want you to tie it back to an individual user. Because, you know, if they type in something like super specific, it can be, you know, you can identify somebody that way, basically, individually. So you can assume what this tells you is, all the money's in the long tail, though. That's where the conversions are, the long tail. So yes, when you have stuff show up here and then you target it, it's not going to be as long tail, and therefore it kind of defeats the purpose of doing it in the first place. There is still money in the shorter tail terms to have it set up in the SCAG format like we were talking about. And get what you can, basically. And then for the rest of the long tail that you can't target individually, the DSA just picks it up. Now, DSA, thankfully, Google with DSA, they initially said that they were going to get rid of that in September, but now they're saying, oh, we'll give you till next year. And I want to almost bet that in January, they're going to be like, oh, we'll give you until May or something like that. This is Google's typical style. So you've got at least 6 more months to run this DSA and get the long tail keywords. And then you may have to run AI Max to do kind of essentially the same thing. And, you know, with that, you may want to run a side AI Max campaign on a really tiny budget to start building up some data on it now or soon, so that when it eventually does get axed, you'll still have something to pick up the super long tail.
Okay, that's not fun news. So while still talking about the SCAG, I already got a question that I wrote down a couple of days ago.
Okay, sure.
So when creating SCAG ad groups, do you separate the keywords into different campaigns based on the category or maybe even vehicle, make, and model? Or you just throw everything into one campaign? Doesn't matter if it's Volvos, Audis, the category.
For the converting search terms?
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually throw it all in one. I mean, if you want to get fancy, you could do different ones ultimately, but I don't really see them that. You always want different campaigns when things convert significantly different from each other. So whereas normally, if I were going to target all the throttle body terms, I would put them, I'd have different campaigns for each vehicle make, because they're all going to convert significantly different. But if I know the term converts already, then that should convert similarly to other terms that have already converted, if that makes sense. So in that particular case, and the reason why you separate it out, because they want to scale them at different rates. If Volvo does really well as a whole, you don't want your Honda kind of dragging down the growth of the Volvo, if that makes sense. Now, if you have them all grouped together and then you find, looking at the data, that for whatever reason, anything to do with Honda just does really well, you could just break out Honda into its own campaign to scale that quicker later on.
Yeah, I think I understand. So if we're building SCAG the right way, we just take the converting terms, so it doesn't matter. It
Yeah, I mean,
will
that's not
matter.
obviously the only way to do SCAG, but that's the way I always do SCAG before anything else, because that's guaranteed extra profit.
Yep, got it. I just always have these kind of questions because we also have seasonality categories. In summer, people want like condensers, AC compressors to be for the car to be cool inside because it's summertime, and in the winters they want the blower fans. Basically a little motor that blows the warm air from the engine to the
On
cabin.
that front, by the way, I would take advantage of, with that, putting your homepage, changing it to what is on the banner, to say like you have a special on certain things like having to do with air conditioning, recharging, stuff like that, and then maybe send out an email blast with that same promotion on it, like to drum up some business. Just some other side thoughts I had on this, because you're right. Like, and then in the wintertime, then there's going to be heater, fan, whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely. Right now we are just stuck with limited resources for now, but that you definitely need to do it.
Okay, well, bottom line here is it looks like the campaign's kind of flat in terms of the growth. Your spend is kind of been flat recently, and the ROAS is also basically flat to go along with it. Yeah, it looks like it's a little down here, but that's because the sales haven't trickled back in. For the most part, you're kind of stuck right now. But the answer to this is, you could obviously go two ways with this. You can improve the site, or you can go more detailed with your targeting on your campaigns. And we obviously talked about, adding negative keywords to kind of help shape how the PMAX campaign's working and the search campaigns are working, doing a aggregate analysis on, single words or within the phrase somewhere, getting rid of all terms with that phrase. So like if you find everything with the word best in it has not converted well, then you could get rid of any keyword with best in it and just get rid of that whole category, so to say. And that's a way to get your ROI up, so that when you start spending more, the ROI will go up. Also on the ad front, we already talked about the SCAG. I mean, that's already going to get the thing to get boosted. It's going to be more so of a slow, steady climb doing that. And then your other way is to, of course, do what you were doing with your test. Long tail keyword targeting and going nuts with that is your main other primary lever. Outside of, I mean, you have limited by budget on this particular campaign, and you have a 4 ROAS going back. If we go last 30 days on this, it's actually a 0.22. I don't know why it dropped so much necessarily. What are we at in terms of ROAS on this?
So the campaign, I told you about it the previous week, it died when I actually added the ROAS target, and I guess it was too high and it slowly just
Yeah, I remember that.
killed itself. Yeah.
Okay, so when it gets back up to 100, you could slowly raise that again. Ultimately, since really most of your campaigns here aren't limited by budget, one of the things that you always try to do is, if something's doing well above average, try to push those more. But these are not really the ones that are doing well above average, aren't really doing. They're not pushable, if you will. So the other thing you can do is, we could improve the remarketing, or you can improve the PMAX, of which the PMAX is going to be more impactful, I would say, in general up front. You've got this feed only campaign, and you got the old PMAX, where are we at with performance there? So this one's got 4.21 the last 30 days. This one's not had anything. Presumably this hasn't had enough time to run and get any traction yet. So Now, I don't know, did we discuss specifically about, oh, I think, yeah, we did talk about image testing with this and how you can use product image tests to get higher click-through and then scale this quicker. And then one of the things that we talked about was, I can't remember the exact details on this, but it was regarding some text overlay on the image. What did we discuss in regards to that again? You remember?
I think it was not with me, actually. We had a different discussion about the titles and separating, like making the supplemental product feed, basically just copying the product, making the title specific to like vehicle make and model, that sort of stuff. Because this PMAX campaign is really awful, to be honest, but it gives results, so I keep pushing it. Well, the products are actually in the feed only campaign. There's only 3 products. What I did, I added another product with special targeting for people who visit like competitor websites for the wheel bearings.
Yeah, which asset group is that? Is that one? Is it this one here? Or you did that?
Yeah. Yes, it's this one.
Okay.
I would like to know if I actually did it correctly, because everybody's talking about custom targeting, custom intent audiences, but I don't know if I did it correctly.
So ideally you would put in there for something like this, the actual competitor's website when you create your custom intent audience, because that's going to get you more accurate results.
Yeah, but there is customer or competitor website.
Oh, you did also add that as well. Yeah, you're right. You just did both. Okay, so you did that right. But the bigger issue here, though, overall is, why did we only run 3 products here in the PMAX?
Yeah, I was kind of stuck with trying to make one product work. Then we talked about on the stream that we need also the custom intent audiences, and I kind of went for the CAC campaign. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't focusing on the PMAX feed only. I gave it like a week, a couple of days. I saw it does not really get impressions, and I guess I was demotivated.
I think I remember recalling that some of the products going back to what we were just talking about earlier, some of the products didn't get approved because of the text overlay. And we were talking about how to use AI to remove it so that you'd get more products approved. That was something we did talk about. So to me, the obvious thing to do here, instead of micro optimizing any of this micro optimization stuff is nice and everything, but you'd be way better off right away just putting all your products in this feed only campaign and just letting it rip. Don't worry about the audiences and whatnot, just putting them all in there. But there's a lot of items, right? I believe you have like 100K items or something like this. So I would actually filter it down to the items that have moved the most historically. So go into your store backend, find the top 10% of sellers, or maybe how many products do you have in your inventory? Different unique SKUs?
1 million that is active and in stock,
1 million
at least. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why not the top 1% of movers and just making a product feed from that and just run that?
The issue we have is that the top movers, well, what you do is you just get a list of which items sold how much, correct? And the most amount of items that sold a lot are like basic filters that costs $5, $10 max.
Okay. Well, I mean, not to say that that matters a lot because the cost per click on those items are going to be less anyway, but you could put a minimum filter on top of that of like, it must be $50. So top
Okay.
1%, $50 or more. Cause I was actually going to say something about that. I would actually exclude all the like little like oil filter crap. Like that's all just stuff that you use to get them to your website. Ultimately buy something and then hopefully buy something bigger in that transaction or later on and be a better customer. One-off customers buying an old oil filter, they're like a waste of your time almost, if not a waste of your time.
Yes, yes, it is.
So I don't know what the minimum cutoff needs to be before like the margins start getting good, but I would definitely find out from the upper management where that is, and then generate your list of the top 1% that meet that minimum price threshold, and then put them in there in this feed only campaign. Because most of our clients for e-commerce, 70%, 60, 70% of our money comes from PMAX / shopping placements. So if you don't have that going, you're just really making it harder on you than it needs to be.
Maybe. I guess I just tried a couple of times to upload the products, then they get disapproved. Plus, the titles were kind of wrong. It just ate the budget, and I'm discouraged about PMAX Fit only. So I should just focus on the products, correct?
When you say that, can you clarify your question?
Well, I should just work on the feed only campaign for now. Just add the products as much as we can.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
will be
obviously do
approved.
what you can. I would think AI is going to come in handy here for building out a product feed for you. And, you know, just so that you know, you don't have to use a feed plugin. I mean, a lot of people do use that to scrape off the products off the site so that, you know, if the product price changes, it automatically pushes as an update right away and that kind of thing. But you can do just a standard spreadsheet. You make a small script using an AI to pull off the required data off your website and then throw it into a spreadsheet and then have that spreadsheet manually uploaded to Google Merchant Center and already have what you want done. And then if you get an error, you could be like, well, here's the error I got. Please fix.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, not to say that that's the way to go here, but if you had an issue with getting stuff approved, this is the type of thing AI, I think, could help out a lot. But either way, having all the items right away is not an important thing. The important thing is you have more than 3. And adding another 5, 10,000 is of the most likely ones to do well and make a good margin for you. That's indeed the thing I would be focused on. You can make your website convert better and all this, and we can do that. But until you've got that done, I would say that's your bigger bottleneck.
Okay. Another thing that I'm worried about is with the actual items, the titles themselves, since the items a lot of times they are compatible with different kinds of vehicles and even different makes all at once. How would you just generate the title then correctly for
I
the
know
best
for the
results?
we talked about this, how it's a little bit hard because items look, you can't tell by just looking at the item whether the item applies for you or not. And so therefore shopping can be difficult, more difficult than in other spaces in order to get it to work because they don't know what they're getting by looking at the image by itself. And they usually don't read the title of the product before clicking either. So what you got to essentially do is get the shopping ad to show up for the correct person that's searching for the correct thing. And the best way to do that is, of course, get the title and description on the product feed to be right. That said, if we go to real quick to our site and we just pick a random product here. Okay, so here's an engine mount. This is the manufacturer of the part, right? Imperium.
Yeah, original Imperium, that's the brand.
Okay. So in order for this to all work well, you're going to have the compatible make and model on the page for the Google's algorithm to scan and then match you up with the right user. And you got all this down here, it looks like, all the compatible
that's
vehicle.
that's the original numbers and cross reference between the different manufacturers. Here are the compatible vehicles.
Okay. So one thing Google also does with shopping is it's going to scan the product page for related information. So it's going to do better than you think in terms of matching the user to the correct product. That said, it's not going to be perfect. I mean, we also talked about having different pages for each make and model. That's something that will help your conversion rates immensely because your search ads can go to an exact page that's right for the user, and your conversion rates would go up from that search ad sending them to that page where the headline says, you know, BMW 3 Series engine mount. So you should put yourself in position to do that anyway for the search ads and have the search ads work better because of it. So you have that option to do that. But on shopping, that's going to help you immensely. So I know we talked about creating and spinning up another part of the website that has a clone of, let's say, each product, in which all that's changed out here is instead of it saying the manufacturer, it just says like BMW 3 Series engine mount instead. So my thought here is just to kind of close this up is I agree that that's a worthy thing before you spin up all the products to not have to wait forever for an ROI to happen and go through all the process of elimination that the system is going to have to go through to find out the right user for the, you know, and it'll just match up the right customer to you right away. Figure out how to make, you know, as you do your product analysis on the back end, which products sell the most and or have good margin, and then take those products and then having product pages that are targeting different make and models, ultimately, the ones that are already down here. And then with those pages, that's what you're going to upload into a product feed and then to Google, which I know that's going to be a ton of work to do that. But if you do that, that's really the next best thing for you to do, I would say, because the shopping is going to work and fairly quickly. Then you could really do more with your search campaigns. And this is a way better option to scale than making the site better in terms of the effort it's going to need in terms of improving your sales funnel and all that. For that matter, it's going to also cut down on the need for a sales funnel. If they get to the right product page that says what they need right up at top of the page, then they're not going to ask as many questions. I know that you could say they could go down here and see it, but at the same time, they're going to be less confident before asking somebody to buy it than if it said right in the headline of the thing. So I don't know what kind of AI script you could use for this, to do this, to make, you know, 100 clones of this page, one for each make and model that it fits. But all you would literally need to do is just change the headline and then submit those pages to Google Merchant Center afterwards.
Okay, quick question. If we go for the copied page with the titles, what the title should be? Should we just go like up until the engine? So Honda Civic, Arara 1.6 liter petrol?
I think just like you have it down here, it's going to be Beetle convertible. Is basically what it says here. You put that
Can
up
you
top.
click on it? There's actually another level down.
Oh, yes. So this is, I mean, ideally you'd have one for each engine, but people don't search on this level really, or not enough anyway to matter. So I would literally just have it at this level here. Put this in the title, Beetle convertible C7, C8 engine mount, or whatever the part is. That in and itself should pretty much do what you need to do, because Google, more than anything else, is going to look at the H1. And then when you make your product feed, the title on the product feed for that product is also going to have this. So it's already going to know what product to show for what user just from doing that alone.
One issue I found when I was testing the products, and I've looked at the, well, you know, like hotspots, clarity, all that stuff, is you see there's Beetle convertible, but there's another Beetle convertible. And in the end, oh no, actually, never mind, because that happened because so if you don't have a vehicle selected, at the top it will say like click here to select your vehicle, and it will ask for your car registration number. And in some cases, when the guy enters it, it's not actually compatible. So it's maybe a different engine, maybe the manufacturer didn't include this engine that he has, and he sees that it's not compatible and just leaves straight away. We probably just don't want him to select his vehicle, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as little as possible, obviously, which is why you just want take people to the exact product. That's going to get you by far more conversions than having them have to go and select their vehicle right away.
Okay, I got it.
And for that matter, on shopping, that's supposed to be the experience, right? Is taking them to an item that's already relevant to them, not having to answer questions and then get to the product that they need. So
True. You are completely correct.
Okay, well, I know that's a task in and itself. You could do it on a small scale basis, create the script that does that. And I promise you do it on 100 items. You're going to see how quickly it works. You're going to want to do it for the rest. And when you see how quickly it works.
All right,
that's
then
your key.
I will try to get this all set up for the next stream. I will not promise that because we still are moving the pallets.
Sure.
The products need to go on the shelves and all that stuff. And we have a backlog of orders. There's a lot to manage.
Yeah,
but yeah, that
sure.
is a great idea. Let's push the feed-only PMAX.
Sure. Make a good script. It should be pretty easy to do more and more once the initial script is set up. In your brain, I'm sure you could figure it out.
All right. Well, right now I don't have any more questions for now. Yep, I'm all out.
Okay. Good luck, Alex. Thanks for coming on again as usual.
Yep. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Corey. See you next week.
Yep. Bye. Yep. Hey, Richard.
How you doing?
All right. As good as I can be. Okay. Richard, while I pull up your account here, why don't you give us a 60-second rundown of your business again for the new viewers and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, we saw gifts and mostly jewelry items and some plaques and stuff, but mostly bracelets and necklaces. Yeah, I've started out advertising just on Facebook, and now I'm trying to build my presence on Google and grow my business there.
Okay. Just a small suggestion. Can you just back off the mic a little bit? You got a little bit of a pop on
It's
there.
better.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna share screen. Okay, we have our account pulled up here. I'm going to show the website to our viewers here again as well. So what is, are we still looking at a 2 RORES to 2.5 RORES target and scaling at that RORES level?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, let's see how we're doing on an overall basis here, last 7 days and so forth here. Shoot. Okay, last 7 days, at least we're over a 2.
Yeah.
Last 30, 1.99, close enough. Okay, let's see if we go further back here, see how we're the trend line and how we're scaling still. Okay, so it looks like we've dipped recently here in terms of the amount of spend.
Yeah. So I was getting some limited by target for a little bit, and I had a really good week, and now it's showing us spending most of its budget, at least on the shopping campaign. So
Okay, yeah, so basically we were doing fine up until the last week, essentially. It's dipped. Now that could be a short-term thing or issue, but it's not looking good either. So first of all, though, have you made any changes to any of your other ads on Facebook or any other places you're running ads in terms of changing budget?
I haven't been spending as much on Facebook. Things have been pretty rough. I mean, a little bit of a pop during Mother's Day, but for about last 4 months, I maybe spent 200,000 and maybe made 10,000 in profit. Like, it's been a pretty hard recently, but it's a very seasonal business. So when Valentine's Day, Christmas comes around, that's where you make more than half your profit. So, so most of it's been Google driving my profits lately.
Okay. One thing I would do, as is, I always tell any of our e-commerce clients, it's tough. You should really look at seeing if you're on track in terms of ROI as far as looking at MER ratio. So your total revenue and your company divided by total ad spend. And your goal is to then ramp up sales at your, 2 to 2.5 using all your channels, knowing one channel, at least on paper, is not going to look like it quite delivers a 2, but contributes to sales on another platform, which does get above a 2. And the combination will get you more sales between a 2 and a 2.5 than just using one mostly, or just one by itself. So Facebook, a lot of it is, it makes sense logically, because during Mother's Day, people are really willing and ready to buy now. Not to say, definitely, obviously, the quality of the buyer that you can get in front of during that time period of right before Mother's Day, it's better overall. That's a big part of why the RORES is higher then, and then it drops off. But at the same time, it's not really near a holiday where they're apt to buy, then they're not going to be apt to buy as much, but they're also not going to be apt to buy as quickly. So a lot of what you have to do during non-holiday periods is, yes, you have to pull back your budget some, certainly, but you're kind of like dropping seeds, planting seeds, and then hoping that they come back later when they buy. So you have a maintenance budget, but you understand how Facebook plays into your Google Ads results and what the right amount of spend is to support your Google Ads results. That's going to allow your Google to scale as much as possible, so you get some awareness. If they see it on Facebook and then you go to Google later, they're going to be more likely to buy, clearly. And of course, so ultimately, if it were my business, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put into a Google sheet or whatnot my monthly results going back to the beginning, and I'm going to put my Google budget in there and my Facebook budget in there, and then what my total sales in the company was. And then I'm going to try to see the relationship between Google and Facebook budget in terms of how much of my total ad budget was this, this percentage was Google, this percentage was Facebook. And then I try to identify what is kind of like the most ideal ratio. Should I spend 80% on Google and 20% on Facebook, 70, 30, whatever it is, to find out how I can peak my sales as much as possible to get an idea of where it needs to be on an ongoing basis. Now, knowing that by month, it's going to vary a lot. With whether or not you're near a holiday or not will vary, whether you want to go 50-50, 60-40, 30-70, or 30, 70-30, whatever. And so you can get the best results knowing that both are kind of interplay off of each other to some degree. And then also, once you're in that position as well, you can add in other channels and see how those channels influence your other channels as well. Like, for instance, on Pinterest, okay, you might be able to run a little bit of ads there and realize that peaks your sales and helps your other channels out as well. You could start small and then just see what happens. Or I don't know what other channels we would do, maybe TikTok, whatever, but I would start getting in that mindset, because for a business like this, you're going to have to run a lot of channels together if you really want to do well and get the most. And each one is going to kind of help you support the other one, so to say. When they start seeing it, they call it omni-channel marketing, really. When you see something in more than one place, you're going to be more apt to take it seriously. And it's not 1 + 1, it's 1 + 1 = 3, kind of, if you will. So anyway, I know we're supposed to be talking about Google here, but it's, I think, relevant to why the ability to spend here went down because of the Facebook going down a little bit. That certainly, in my experience, usually contributes to it. That all said, okay, our campaigns are not limited by budget anymore. What's driving the bulk of our ROAS here? So our remarketing campaign, wow, that's good, even though it's not much overall sales on the remarketing there. So Google Shopping is still doing the best. For the most part, the Google Shopping is what mostly everything is going to in terms of the spend, like 90% here.
Yeah. And that was showing limited by target for like 5 days, and then it recently just switched to spending its full budget. So I don't know.
Okay. So for me, we could talk about beefing up your search strategy and all that, but your best bang for your buck in terms of effort was probably be focused on the shopping campaign to make it better. And I know we talked about how to optimize that somewhat before, but if you can even get the click-through rate up on your images 20%, that would boost your sales quite a bit. Just that one little thing. And so the question is, what can you do to do that? And I would start my testing of my images at least now. Also, the pricing as well. So I know there's a lot of products that are similar here. So first of all, on the pricing, sometimes it pays to have the cents on the product. A lot of times, though, it doesn't, because it makes the price look physically bigger. So in the user's mind, they think it costs more. I know that seems like weird, but it's there's some psychology there that applies. And what I would suggest doing maybe is taking 2 or 3 of these items and just knocking off the cents altogether and seeing if that changes the conversion rate and click-through rate. And then we know from other clients and experiments, typically ending this price in a 7 will also increase the click-through rate and ROI as well. As weird as that is, so pick 2 or 3 items to do that there. And all you got to do this is, of course, change it on your site, of course, and then everything should just propagate. But then apart from that, the image is the big one. And just trying to think of ideas of what you could do here to make this better. Now, one thing that's really cool now, even though you shouldn't automatically go for it, but on Nano Banana, you can do AI lifestyle images now with products. Now, these images are really good. That's why I know you did so well with this. But as to whether that be the ultimate best image, I'm not confident at all that this couldn't be improved. We just got to find something that works better. But you may be able to take your product image there and play around with it and find some stuff that you can test without taking new photos. Or you could take new photos as well, but that tool makes it so you don't actually have to hire a photographer. You can just take the product out of its background, put a new background on it, and just see if it converts or gets a higher click-through. Higher click-through.
All those backgrounds are already AI generated. So
oh, wow. They really look realistic.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's really just the same actually bracelet. I even photoshopped the message in there. So like it's all mostly AI now anyway, except for the box and the bracelet.
Okay. So there you go. This was a pretty good idea to put the roses back there. It really catches your eye. So there's a couple things here. Number one, I would go search for the terms that you're already getting customers from. You know, you go in, that is, go into the search terms report, see what people are typing in that are leading to a purchase, then go to Google and search those terms and then see what the competitors are doing. The more you stand out as different, typically the more click-through rate you get. Now, I don't think that anybody's probably doing the flowers in the background. So you're probably already different already. But if in case they were, you'd want to do something different. But you may want to just look at what them for an idea, maybe like ask yourself, like, why are they doing it like this? Also, go to other jewelry companies and see what they're using for their background for ideas and ask why they're doing it like that. Start getting some ideas going, and then, yeah, make 10 different versions of this product with different backgrounds. I think that's the key to figure out what's going to get the highest click-through rate of all, instead of just going with this default. Granted, they are different, of course, but then not to mention here, if we go CTR wise, let's see which one's got the highest click-through rate historically. Okay, here's the ones with the highest click-through. You may want to just study these and ask yourself why these got higher click-through as well. What's the elements in there that's causing it, which may not be obvious, but just take a look at it. Nothing stands out to me immediately. But the idea is here that you take 10 items, do 10 different backgrounds, make a secondary product or supplemental product feed in Google Merchant Center, which overrides the initial product feed that you have. For just those 10 items, you have the different images so that you can just have 10 different images. That way you don't have to change your website, but you can still test 10 different image angles.
Yeah, that's
don't
right now.
Oh, it is. Okay. Main thing being is start when you always do testing like this, don't start with the micro testing. Test radical stuff. Test like weird stuff in the background. It's totally different than what you're doing. And yes, it may fail miserably, but you may actually be surprised as well. And once you've got that pinned down, then you can start doing the micro testing. Do you want drop shadows? Do you want to have high contrast? Do you not want that? And we could talk about how to hyper optimize it once you get the general overall angle that you should have. But right now you're just flying on hey, this is what I started with. I don't know what else to try yet. And you haven't really went and did this process. So for me, that's the main key. You do the image testing, you do the price testing, and then we find out from that what else to test. And we go through this process to get your click-through rate up. So instead of 1.7 on some of these top items, we can get it closer to 3. And then that will be the difference between, what we got now and doubling the sales essentially.
Okay.
Then we also should be getting into optimizing the website, because we're getting to the stage where that's kind of getting to be a bottleneck as well for us. So I would do the testing, and then ultimately, just looking at this real quick, if we look at the product page, you know what? Okay, I guess you got that on there. So what you did on the front end with all your products was you created one for like 80th birthday, 70th, like so on and so forth. But you don't actually have unique products for each one of those. You send them all to the same generic page.
Yeah.
So the obvious thing is you create different pages for those different items, because when there's a disconnect, when it says 80th birthday, and then they get to a page and there's nothing about 80th birthday there, then it's going to convert less every time. So I know that would be like a way to junkify your website and add more admin costs. I suggest picking 10 items out, make 10 pages that are at least with the headline matches what the product title is, and see how much better it converts.
So could I make a dynamic product title? Like basically I'm linking to the variant and making the product title change based on the variant that's selected.
You could. The downside of doing that, I mean, you do it your way or whatever you want, but the downside of doing that is Google's quality system won't recognize that page is dedicated for that item. So therefore, it'll assume that it won't get the same click-through rates and conversion rates for the user than if it had relevant language on there, because the system knows relevant pages usually convert better, give the user a better experience. So that said, if the user experience is good, eventually they'll realize, okay, this page is good. We should give this guy credit for having a good page. So all that is to say, short term, you're not going to get the benefit of it having it hard coded on the page, because the system's going to look at the page to judge it before it gets enough data to know how it actually performs. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if I just do like 10 of my best-selling ones and create another listing and see if that gets better results than my original page.
Yeah. Yep. You don't, I agree with your assessment though, by the way, just doing it on different items, because then you won't reset any of your data. Just 10 new items. You essentially have everything on the ad side the same, is you're just sending them to custom landing pages. Then after 60 days, we can compare the conversion rates before and after. You can do it on an aggregate level. So all the 10 products that you did it on versus all the original 10 products that it's meant to replace. How did it convert before and after? Mm-hmm. Or should I say not before and after, but like, one versus the other. So yeah, I mean, that almost for sure will increase your conversion rates in and itself. And of course, this image here should also, you said this is actually AI too, right? On this product image?
Yeah.
Shoot. Just brought it up here again. So on this image here, this is AI too. So can you, on those 10, put like, if it's 80th, can change this to 80th as well right here?
Yeah. Like that's just, I can just do that in Photoshop. And I mean, it's on there on the variant drop down. It'll switch the image if you change it. So when person lands on the page, it will say 80th because it's linked to that variant. Like every variant is a link,
Oh, yeah, I see that. When you change it here, it automatically updates already. So interesting. So I think all you got to do is have this say 80th. This says 80th, which if you just switch it, you already got it already. And then this says 80th. Then you're good. You have a customized landing page for that product. And therefore you'll get at least 40, 50% higher conversion rates from just doing that alone.
Okay.
That's the main things I said. I think I'd go through right now. That's enough for you to do at least for 1 week or a couple weeks or whatever. So did you have any questions you want to ask me before we wrap up this week's optimization?
Yeah, I guess just about with my SCAG campaign, I've been adding some keywords to that, like with brand keywords. Like I'm not getting a lot of, I've gotten a lot of sales for, like, say, Pandora, which is a big sort of global brand. It's kind of a somewhat different product, but like, how do you write ads for like competitors, people searching for competitors? Like I wouldn't want to use their brand name in my ad. So then, how do I do that
for the competitor campaign? Unfortunately, I don't have like enough time this week to give you a technical breakdown on that. It's going to take a while to break, a good 10 minutes just to break that down by itself. But can you remind me next week? And I'll definitely cover that first.
Okay. I guess that's
because you're right. That is a good plan. I think certainly what we're doing here should be done first, especially since it's going to take 2 months just to gather any data. Then we can get into doing some other stuff. That being a perfect one to handle next.
Okay. All right. I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming back, Richard. Thank you everybody for watching as usual. And we'll see you on the next one.